Hey, Brett here. So tonight I'm going to work on my midsection. I'm going to work the front here. I'm going to work a little bit up here and also all around here. And I'm going to do that through a series of a number of poses. I'm going to start with some basic sort of strengthening exercises. And then tonight I'm going to do each of the poses about 2.5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the beginning. Let's see. Seated twist. All right. Got my feet in front of me. This is asymmetrical. I'm going to do it twice. I'm not going to hold this. This is a dynamic. The first four things I'm going to be doing are more strengthening and balancing of my body. So I'm going to take one foot. I'm going to pull my right foot up so that it's flat, and then I'm going to pick it up and put it on the outside of the left leg. I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to start by putting it on my left knee. Now, if you can go further, for example, maybe I can get my elbow there. That's wonderful. Maybe I can put my hand behind me. Maybe you can twist a little bit. So here's a seated twist, something like this. Now, something you might try, this is sort of a general thing, a trick. So I am twisting to the right. When you twist to the right, if you bend back to the left, you'll tend to get your spine a little more erect up and down, and you can deepen the twist a little bit, and you'll feel it more between your shoulder blades. So if you lean away from the direction you're twisting, because when you twist in a direction, you tend to lean in that direction as well. Okay, now when you hold anything like this for any amount of time, especially if you do the thing with the straightening of the spine, come out really slow, really, really slow. If you notice a pinch, just hold it for a second, come out slow, slow, slow. Pet your cat. Here's Kitty. This is Cheshire. His name is Cheshire. He's Cheshire or Chesh, mostly Chesh. All right, now take your right leg, foot, putting back forward, left leg up, other side. Bring your leg up over on the outside of the right knee. Right hand first on the knee, left knee, and then maybe a little forward, and then hit your left hand, fingers pointing back. Let me check something out here. Yeah, definitely fingers pointing back. So I'm turning to my left. I actually try to drop my shoulder a little bit. Now, again, since I'm turning to the left, I'm probably leaning my spine to the left. So I'm going to consciously lean back to the right and then twist a little further. And there it is. It's a little bit higher up. So you're involving more of your spine when you do this. Hello. Okay, that's good enough. So I'm just trying to sort of loosen things up a little bit before we really get into the deep stuff. All right, next. What is next? I've just come up with this. Okay, yeah, bridge. Okay. Bridge, standard yoga pose. Now I'm not going to do a full bridge. I'm going to lay on my back. My feet are on the ground. I'm going to take my hands. Now, you can do this in a number of ways. I mean, one thing is just lift your butt. That's a good start. Another option is lift your butt and try to bring your shoulders together. That's nice. If you can, maybe you can grasp your hands and then get your elbows under, and then maybe you can dig your heels in and really lift your hip flexors. Now, if you can't, there's lots of ways to work on your hip flexors. I'm going to get my shoulders a little bit more pinched. Here we go. Now, this side is weaker. Oh, yeah, yeah. Whew. Okay, well, there's a balance issue. I'll notice that now. Okay, good to know. That was bridge. All right, now next. What have I got next? Bow. Ah, this is an interesting one. So back in 2001, when I started practicing yoga, I haven't been doing it consistently, so it's not like I've been really doing it that much. This pose was the first pose I ever experienced an issue in my tissue. The first three times I did it at Susie Curtis's Dynamic Power Yoga Plus in Dallas, I would just feel like nauseous, and then something just released. Don't know what it was. And the thing that was the most impressive to me about that was she said, "Look, it's going to happen. Your ego is going to want to know what it was. It doesn't need to know. And it doesn't need to know. When you let go of stuff that you're holding, those tensions and such, you're probably releasing something in your brain. So it helps your whole system to do this stuff." So, bow pose. Love this one. Okay. Going to kick my feet back, head down just for a second. Okay, let's see. It's been a while since I've done this one. Reach left hand back and grab my left foot. Reach right hand back and then right foot. I'm going to kick my feet up, and also I'm going to pull my head back, and I'm going to basically put my body on my solar plexus. Here we go. Now you can also hold at your ankles, I believe. I'm going to actually use my stomach to move forward and back. Oh, interesting. This is going to really help with the first deep flexibility pose. Okay. What's last? Keep this closer. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. So just to sort of loosen things up and finish this sequence before getting into stretches. So cat and cow. Okay, that's good. Now, for tonight's set of poses, I'm going to use three props, four props if you count the wall. Use a strap, anything will work, a belt, towel. You may not need one. I'm going to use this just to sort of help control how far my foot goes over to the ground. And I'll be using pillows almost like I always do almost all the time. So, first pose, right here, we're going to loosen the front of our legs. This is a version of a pose called blaster, but this one is called jackknife blaster. I don't name them. So the reason I'm going to use it here, I'm going to put this on the wall because I'm going to have my foot, my shin right up against the wall. The important thing here is my left knee is touching the wall. Now, of course, I'm doing my left side first. I normally do my right side first. For some reason, I do that on this one. But my left knee is touching the wall. If you keep your left knee touching the wall, your left knee is protected and you'll be fine. And it'll also allow you to use that as a point to drop your hip and really get a good deep stretch on the front of the leg here. Now, this might be where you're at. You might be here because if you sit all day long, you're stretching something that doesn't want to be stretched because you've been sitting and shortening that muscle because your body adjusts to how you use it. Eventually, you work your way up. Now, I could have brought a bench over to help me with this, but I think I'll be fine if I just do this today. Now I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. So it's not about how close my bum goes to the wall. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to imagine my hip here is just going in this direction. Now, my hip's not actually moving, but it's kind of like dropping a little bit, and it's really getting a nice stretch on the front down here in about the lower third of the muscle. It's a really targeted pose. What that means is when you do the another version of blaster, for example, you get the hip flexor and also you get a hamstring. Well, this one is just, and this isn't actually the hip flexor, it's lower on the leg. So this is a really nice complement to blaster, which gets a little higher up. So blaster is going to be more around your belt line for me, and this is a lower hit. And later at the end, we'll see that with the difference between Flamenco C and Twister. Now, what am I doing here? Okay, I'm intensifying the pose. Let's see, what am I doing? I'm relaxing. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm relaxing the front of my leg to allow the leg to drop. And in doing that, since the rest of my body is held in place, it's causing the muscle to get stretched even more. Now, if I want to intensify this, I could raise my back a little bit. And in fact, I don't want to come out of the pose, though this is sort of coming out of the pose, basically. There we go. Oh, now I'm getting closer to the bottom of the hip flexor. So this moved it a little bit higher up. Okay. Now to come out of this, I don't find this one terribly hard to get out of, but just to be careful, bring your right knee to the ground and then bring your other leg down and then just very slowly relax back as far as you normally will go. Once your leg gets back into a normal position, it'll be fine. We're destabilizing the muscles by design. So other side, asymmetrical pose. If you're particularly tight on one side or the other, do the other side 30 seconds, a minute longer. Get yourself balanced. Okay, so now the leg that is touching the wall, and make no mistake, the entire leg is touching the wall, is the one that's getting the stretch. Okay, there we go. So I've got a pillow mostly on my foot. My knee is touching the baseboard. And again, you go as high as your body will let you go. Now, what I'm trying to do here, again, I'm relaxing from my rib cage as far down as I can, all the way down to the knee. So the knee is against the wall, so that's giving me a leverage point. And then this is another leverage point. So really what I'm almost doing is this is a point on one end of a bar. My knee is the other point, and then I'm using these points and relaxing and allowing the muscle to get just pulled as the leg comes forward a few millimeters. Now, I've been doing this pose a little bit on and off, but also I don't tend to sit too much for work. I have been sitting recently, but I tend to ride a bicycle seat while I'm at work. So I keep myself moving. Oops, see, I can get deeper if let's see. There we go, it's better. It's not quite balanced. Okay, there we go. So when I'm in really balanced, I can really let go. So find balance and then just release into it. And when you do that, you allow the body and the muscle to relax. Okay, now the next three poses are on the back on the floor. Let's see. Mr. Chesterfer, I have to project where I should be relative to where you are. Okay. Let's see. I'll put that there. I think that'll work. And then if I do this, and if you don't move, if you just stay right there, it'll be great. I don't think you will. You might do. You never know. Never say never. Okay, so I'm on my back. This first one, hamstring. Now, you may not be able to get your leg up very far. That's fine. Oh, by the way, also, I'm going to use a couple of pillows just because I like to have on this one anyway, my neck just a little bit like this elevated. So you might not be able to get very far up. The stretch is here. The stretch is not up there. And what I mean by that is, you know what? Let's say this is where you're at. If you can put some part of your leg above your knee on a resting point and then learn how to relax your hip, you can still get a big stretch right here. And then eventually, you lasso your foot, and then you get something taller, and then taller, and then taller. Now, my other leg, I should have this on the ground. I apologize. And taller, and taller, and taller. And then eventually, maybe you get to the point where you can maybe pull the ball of your foot back, and that will greatly engage the involvement of your calf. So I'm getting a nice bend here. I'm getting a nice bend here. I'm getting a nice tail on my nose. Now, don't be afraid to have a micro bend. When you bend your knee, you're still getting a really good stretch here. You'll get deeper here, but also this moves the stretch like right more into the middle of the muscle body. So there's nothing wrong with this. The real issue is, can you hold the pose? Do you have the stamina to hold it without really, and you know what? Over time, you'll build it. So let's see. Let me start. Where is my timer? There's my timer. Here we go. No, I'm gonna regret this later. I let him rub my head. He will be banging his head against my head the rest of the night. Okay, now I'm moving slightly side to side, and do move slowly because as you move, you'll notice slight variations in where the stretch is hitting. And it's okay to sort of slowly move through very, very slowly. And in doing this and feeling, you're going to find good places to stop and sort of sit for a bit, like right there's a good place for me. And I'm working on my sense of interoception, my inner sense of self. And in doing that, I'm working on my neuroplasticity. Dude, you're tickling me with your tail. Bend my knee just a little bit. And that's deepening the stretch into my hamstring quite a bit. So I want to increase the stretch in my calf, to bring my toes back. Okay, but now my time is up. Okay, so come down very slowly, probably bend your leg, and then set your foot on the ground. Now, I would love to do this pose and all the next poses for 5 minutes. The problem is, if I do all the poses for 5 minutes, I'm doing a total of 10 poses if you count two for each of the asymmetrical poses. So just in time of stretching alone, that's 50 minutes. Got to add about a minute, minute and a half between poses, depending on how long you do them. And when I do them for 5 minutes, I have to add a minute. So, I'm really talking an hour and 10 minutes to do a 5 minute version of this. So I'd love to do it. I don't have time. And honestly, it's a bit too much anyway. That's like a once in a week class. That would be a good idea. Because if you spend 5 minutes on a series of poses around, like say an area around the hips, you will be impacted. But I suspect you need to sort of practice the poses for a while before you can really get that kind of an impact. Hanging out for 5 minutes in some of these poses is a bit mind cracking. Yeah, I'm straightening my leg a little bit back out. Ooh, yeah. So I didn't start recording myself until like late 2024. I started this in early 2022, and I really wish I had some records of where I started on this pose because when I started, I was probably over there with my leg using a strap to hold it up. Oh, I'm gonna make myself sneeze. Okay, pardon me. Pineapple. That worked. Sometimes that works. I don't care if it's psychosomatic because the net effect is I'm not going to sneeze. Okay, now that was Flamenco A. The next one, I'm going to work on the inside groin. So I'm going to use this to sort of use as a pad to keep my foot not too far on the floor. Now, just like with the last one, you might be able to go here. The stretch is on your groin. If this is all the further you can get your foot, use a bench. And now, of course, this isn't tall enough to really do much. But if you can use a bench, let it happen. Let the bench lower and lower and lower. And over time, because when I started this pose, I started somewhere probably up there. And now notice I can hold my leg up. So as you keep doing these poses, you are building definitely flexibility, but also a lot better, more like power building results as opposed to building muscle. You're better able to coordinate your body. Okay, here we go. Where to put the time? No, I put the timer chest. Hmm. Ah, no. Oh, there it is. I did start it. Yeah, I did start it. It's a bit much on my knee there. There, that's better. Okay, now, oof, ay, ay, ay. So this got both my hamstring as well as my groin and just a little bit on the outside of the hip. So here we go. Other side. Same thing. Again, if you're particularly tight on one side, do that side longer. I used to be tighter on the left side, and then I've got something weird going on my right side that I think I'm working through. It might be probably another few months. I don't know. You know, don't plan, just do. Trust the process. Practice is the way. Oh, what am I doing? I'm doing the wrong pose. Sorry. Let me try. Let me start that over. Pardon me. This timer is the cheapest timer imaginable. Okay, I'm going to give myself an extra second rather than resetting that. There we go. There we go. That's better. Oh, hello. So if you happen to do something like rock climbing, you might notice the way I've got my left arm, I've got my arm mostly completely bent, which means that I'm not using my muscles at all. I'm holding this entirely with just my hand. So yeah, because I've been doing this a while, my hand strength has gotten quite a bit better. And for you older folks, us older folks, your hand strength is a good proxy for your likelihood to fall. And so this practice as a side benefit over time, slowly, very slowly, but over time, you get better hand strength. You balance your body, which makes you less likely to fall. So, contrary to popular myth, stretching doesn't really. Let me think about how I want to say this. Stretching is going to make it so that you are less likely to hurt yourself. Oh, actually, you know, okay, right there. That's tight. Ah, that's taking. Seems like I should be. Ah, there we go. That's tight. Oh yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Ah, okay, that was a bit much in terms of like, 'cause I was getting close to more ballistic style, which I do not want to be doing. Okay, last one. I'm going to move on to the back. So on this last one, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be hitting here and here. So I'm going to be hitting my hip like so. Now to do that, I'm going to twist over to the side. So that pedal staying here, I'm going to go back to my right side, lift my leg, loop it. Now I'm going to lift. Right now I'm going to keep my left leg bent a little bit because I'm going to lift my butt. I'm going to shift my hip to the right a little bit, and then I'm going to straighten my left leg and let my right leg fall to my left. Now, once again, if you need to use something to stop you from falling, like I'm using right here, go ahead and do that. So let's see, here we go. Okay, now at the end of that pose, I'm starting to get a little bit of like sparkly things in my feet. I think you get what I mean. So here's a test on that. Did I go too far? Okay, if you notice that they're gone within, say, 36 to 60 seconds, you're fine, and they're already gone. And I kind of knew that. I could tell it was very light. But, if you're worried about it, pull back and realize that, you just can't go that far. But even though I felt them, I recognize that wasn't a problem yet. It was actually nowhere near. All right, last Flamenco C and last of the Flamenco series. I really love this series. It just takes so long. If you do just these three poses, yeah, that's a half hour. If you wanted to do them for 5 minutes, and I've done it, it's wonderful. You will hammer your legs if you do all three of these for 5 minutes each. No, I'm doing it again. There we go. I really apparently like Flamenco A. There we go. I gotta be careful here not to get the kitty. Okay, I think we're safe for now. Now, Josh, I have to say I'm sorry that I'm gonna have to move you in a few seconds. Well, maybe not, but probably. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, sir. You're gonna have to. Here, you can use my foot. There you go. It doesn't smell bad, you know. You don't have to look away. You were just putting your tail on my face, which honestly, we know your tail's not as good as my foot. Yeah, you just sit there and purr all you want. Oh, you. Oh, did I offend you? I hope I didn't offend you. I'm really glad no one listens this far into these videos. And we're talking crazy cat dad. I mean, I do love my cat, of course. I'm a dog person though. Dog first. I mean, kitties are great, don't get me wrong. The horses are wonderful. I grew up on a farm. Cows are wonderful. Animals are good. Okay, one. Okay. Whew. Now, this next pose is very similar to this pose, but where this pose was hitting me a little higher up, this next one's going to get a little bit deeper into the back. So it's a great combo burrito. And this will be the last pose of the, I do believe. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Now, since let's see, time is it? Okay. Now this is a very relaxing pose. Um, it's also a really deep twist. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one for 5 minutes because I just want to do one pose long. All right, now go in the description of this one. I'm laying on my back. I don't think I'm going to need this pillow for this. In fact, I know I don't. So I'm just going to go carpet to floor, head on the ground. I'm going to keep my hands on the side to start, but I'm going to lift my right leg. Now, option one, take your right foot and hook it behind, or like right in the crook of the knee there. Ah, I'm getting a cramp in my foot when I do that. So I'm not going to do that. But you can then take your right hand on the outside, sorry, your left hand on the outside of your right knee, and then twist to the side. Now, you might be able to get your foot on the other side. You might be able to get your ankle, maybe your calf. Maybe you might be able to get all the way down. I didn't start here. I've got here. Doesn't matter. That's not what this is not where the pose is. So don't worry about your legs so much. You do want them somehow twisted up. The pose is here. And the way I get there is by twisting to the side. So don't worry so much about the feet, but make sure your feet are comfortable. Like sometimes I'll do a double twist on my feet, and sometimes that hurts. You know what? If it hurts, don't do it. because right here, oh, right here, I'm getting a big stretch when I put my arm off to the side. So here, and it complements what we just did with Flamenco C. Oh, there, I got a little pop in my spine there. Now, for you folk that are considering studying Bagua, this is why you want to study Bagua. You want a healthy spine, practice Bagua. Just the circle walking the Bagua is all you need. If you continue with palm changes, you're moving from a linear to a polar coordinate system. And it takes a while for the brain to get used to that. It's really good for your brain. Really good for your brain. And since as you get older, your hippocampus continues producing, is it 750 or 700 neurons a day? Things like spatial reasoning in a polar system, which is unfamiliar, is just the kind of thing that your brain would love to latch on to and memorize. So don't waste those new neurons. Give them something to snap onto. Pretty much most of the stuff I say, I can back approximately metaphorically with physics, neuroscience, and so on. I don't really know anything, but even though I generally can do that, this is not all there is. And so contemporary science is a perfectly good model to understand the part of the universe that can be understood by the things that it can model. But since existence is ineffable, no system of representation can capture the ineffable except direct experience by any reasonable definition. So science is modeling, it's not truth. Religion goes for truth. Fine. I don't care. I don't care about truth. Truth isn't a thing to me. Not in the sense that we're talking right now, anyway. Now, this is a really good place where you really expand your belly, and that does a couple of things. It changes and deepens the twist, and also it stimulates your vagus nerve, as I talked about before. Stimulate your vagus nerve, rest and digest, calm down your muscles, reflex system. I am really deeply twisted right now and crazy. Ah, there it is. Hmm. Well, I never started the timer. Here's the thing. Okay, so I mean, my knees touching the ground, my hand is touching the ground. I can turn my neck. There's not much more I can do right here. This is about as much as this pose will do. And actually, this is one of the limitations of science of stretching. It doesn't have a lot of twisting. Okay, but I'm going to come out of this really slowly because I am completely extended here, as much as this pose will do for me. So I'm going to unwind my legs. Right foot is going to either stay on the ground or if need be, I'll slide it across my left leg. Haven't moved my back at all. Got my toe, got my heel, and I'm going to flatten my foot. And as I do, I'm going to turn and lower my body very slowly, get my back onto the ground. And if you pause here for a second, I don't know how long I was in that. That's probably 3 minutes, 2, 3 minutes. It wasn't very long. My right side, my left side feels the same, flat. My right side almost feels like it's curved or something. It feels lighter. It's monumentally stretched right now. Great. So, other side. Again, try to do the same thing you did on the first side. If you cannot, take the tighter side, do it longer. You can hook your foot behind the knee, over, or even further. I'll go even further here. Again, whatever is comfortable because the pose is not up here. This is just a mechanism for holding the pose and also keeping your muscles engaged just enough so you can get a stretch. So this is not where the stretch is. So don't worry about it. Oh, but do worry about stepping on the kitty as you roll over. Come here. Yeah. Okay, excuse me, sir. Pardon me. Yeah. All right. Now I'll go ahead and put this timer on here. Oh, okay, here we go. Something essential I want to point out. The first four things I did them first, and that was deliberate and important. Don't do that stuff after you've done these poses. If you do bridge after this, you're going to do some damage. I made the mistake of doing plow pose after this pose. I could get into plow pose. I could not get out of it safely, and I tore my back a little bit, and it hurt for like, I don't know, 6 weeks. So the strength and balancing stuff is what you start with. You finish with this, you go to bed, or you don't do anything for 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours, depending on how deep you go. Really, you will. I mean, if you actually get into this, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to know better and you're going to do some damage. And hopefully you'll realize that after 1 or 2 times that, there's that direct experience thing again, right? I can tell you till I'm blue in the face, but until you actually experience it, you may not believe me. It also may not be true for you. I've done it twice. I've injured myself twice. And both times it was ego. Or just, or brash stupidity. Take your choice. Doesn't matter. Pardon me. A bit of a hot spot. Hitting a bone on one bone hitting another, so I got to adjust it a little bit. When you feel a hot spot like that, a little extra pressure one place, may not seem like much, but if you're here for a while, it becomes something, and you can bruise yourself and not even know you're doing it. So really monitor your body, scan it. If you feel something that's just a little bit out of place, try to make a micro adjustment so that you can stay here forever, even though you don't want to stay here forever. But you want to feel like you can. That's the thing. You know, um, I haven't done a float in a float tank yet, but I've got about to do so. I gotta imagine this is like metaphorically like that. You want to get to a place where you're just right here. Let's see. I'm not doing anything at all. Wait, let me. I notice my knee is slightly going back. So if I can somehow find the balance of my hand, just to add just a little bit of weight, and then I can find a way to get it so that I don't have to do anything with my hand. Not doing it quite yet. Let's see a little bit deeper there. Or here we go. Watch this. There we go. Perfect. The pillow is just holding my hand so my hand's weight stays on my knee. And now I can completely relax and let gravity do everything. A lot of times props make the pose deeper because I can relax more now. How you doing? My left shoulder is slightly off the ground, maybe, I don't know, a couple inches. If I stretch my hand, oh, there we go. That was 5 minutes. Wow, that's fast. It did not feel like 5 minutes. Okay, so I guess the other side might have been longer. All right, now again, I'm going to untwist my legs. I want to make sure that my left foot doesn't lift off the ground just yet because I've stretched the muscles that I would use to help lift it that direction. Slide, slide, slide the foot, set the foot on the ground, twist very slowly over. Yes, slow, slow. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Eh. Oh boy. Yeah. Ooh, I had a little nausea there. A bit much. Okay, well, I think that's good enough for tonight. What do you think, Josh? Was that enough? Oh, you think I should just shred the needle? I don't think so. Let's see. Could I hold that comfortably? Ooh, yeah, I can't. I mean, this is ridiculously stupid. I'm going to do the other side just for balance, but I mean, I can't. It's not something I could hold for any amount of time without straining my neck. But it's kind of fun. Here, this is the outtakes reel. I mean, right there, that is a really nice glute stretch on my left side. But I knew this because I do this against the wall, and it's much easier to hold against the wall. But this is still interesting to me. This is intrigued. Wait a minute. Why am I not thinking about this? Okay, let's turn it into a mix of flamenco on the right and thread the needle on the left. Okay, so now, eh, what about this? That hurts. Now that's going to hurt my knee. Of course, I'm kind of stuck. Ouch. No, 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 no. Okay. Oh, ouch. Cramping the arch of my right foot there. Hurts my heel. I need a pillow. Okay, here we go. That was nice. Oof. Hard to do that. I normally wouldn't try to use that leg to bring it back, but I didn't do that pose for very long, so I still hadn't really completely disabled the muscle. That got good. That was a nice stretch right there, which is a tight spot for me. All right. This wasn't on the plan, but it kind of counts because it's hitting the same area just in a different way. Okay. So the variant I'm doing here is this is kind of a forward split or front split, but I've got my back leg bent. So it's also kind of like a roundhouse lunge. I think it's called half split or something like that. Now right there, my hip flexor is complaining, but that will go away shortly because I've been doing the frog pose. Same thing now. Left side hip flexor is complaining. I'm just gonna let it complain for a little bit. This is my renegade side. Oh, mhm. Oh, now I'm kind of doing half frog, half split, which I didn't realize that I was doing, but that's kind of what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Oh, try to get that left hip flexor to relax a touch. Okay, that's enough. Oh, yeah, that's enough. I'm not sure how long I went. Probably not very long, but I wasn't planning on doing that anyway. Ah, get that. Oh, come back, leg. Come back. Oh, it's not an act. I probably could have brought it back a little quicker, but that wasn't an act. But now I'm fine. I'm just completely fine. I know I keep saying that, but really, knocked me out. Just the breathing wasn't putting myself to sleep. Have a good night. Can I stand? Yes. Okay, success.